Greetings, I'm Jarvis Jones. This is my senior seminar research proposal presentation. This proposal and presentation will focus on scholastic achievement and how it correlates to the use of cannabis. Before you freak out, we will be focusing on the good aspect of cannabis, or commonly known as CBD. I know there's a negative connotation with the use of cannabis, and that is often associated with the psychoactive part of the drug, which is commonly known as THC. THC versus CBD. THC, as I've said, is the psychoactive part of the drug, or the part that gets you high. In conjunction, CBD and THC can cause issues with concentration, sleep patterns, anxiety, physiological ailments, and psychological ailments. In isolation, however, CBD has often been used to treat some of these ailments or symptoms. CBD is in its infancy as regarding the application and practical use. That's why this study is a great proposal, because anything in its infancy only has room to grow. Adding bits and pieces here and there will surely push the phenomenon forward. Now, in our study, we will be focusing on GPA, grade point average, and graduation time, how they correlate. Our hypothesis is that CBD use will accelerate graduation time and increase GPA. They will have a direct effect on both of these aspects. Other factors included in the story are anxiety, sleep patterns, and concentration. Now, because we know that graduation doesn't happen in the blink of an eye, we will use a latent growth curve model, which has become the standard in social psychology, for monitoring change over time. As far as anxiety goes, we will test participants for anxiety at 3 different junctures of each semester that they participate in. First week of the semester, midterms, and finals week. It is important to note that it's very difficult to test for test anxiety specifically, because it would be difficult to monitor anxiety among students for every test that they take from freshman year to graduation, which is on average 5 to 6 years for a student. Sleep patterns will largely be self-reported. It's important to know also that this creates room for error, as students may, or participants rather, may, I don't want to say lie, but students may alter or fabricate their actual sleep patterns. Concentration is the biggest challenge in this study, but it also is probably the most reliable, as concentration is often measured by brain waves. So I anticipate these to be the most accurate readings, as opposed to anxiety and sleep reportings, just due to the fact that You can fabricate or alter your recordings of your sleep patterns. You may answer questions differently on our anxiety questionnaire, trying to give researchers the answer that they're looking for. Our procedures, as I'll reiterate, we will be measuring brain waves for concentration. These will also be measured in incremental stages, as we will test for concentration in the first week of semesters, midterms, and finals week. The two main factors of the study will be GPA and graduation time. Those can be self-reported. It's important to note that to increase validity and reliability of the reportings, you can ask for official records or documentation of GPA and graduation time, as again, students or participants have shown propensities and desires to alter or fabricate reportings for whatever reason, to impress researchers, to give the answer that they think they want to be heard. Justifications, as I mentioned earlier, CBD and practical use is in its infancy. The earliest use of CBD was in practical form was reported in the 1970s. That's approximately 50 years ago. Any phenomenon in that type of infancy has the potential to grow immensely. This piece of the pie, or this research proposal, is my attempt to further the conversation and investigation of CBD and maybe change the narrative of cannabis and how it's used. I know there are some moral limitations or restrictions, but there will be no THC in this study, as I've said before. And for those who don't like the image of smoking, there are topical creams, teas, lotions, steams that can be used. Another justification for this study would be that, as I'm sure we can all attest to, being a student is difficult for even the brightest of minds. There are challenges and obstacles that are unforeseen at the time of enrollment, or even at the time of ideation of attending or being a college student. And sometimes there needs to be a better alternative to aiding the process of being a student. Some students turn to drugs, alcohol to ease the stress of student life. Excuse me. This research proposal is altering a healthier, safer, more accepted, nonetheless, more accepted option of relief, really. I have been one to use CBD products. I can attest to its effect positively on my sleeping habits. My attention span is a bit longer, although that probably was never really a problem for myself, but I don't have any hard data to, validate my claims of positive reinforcement on concentration levels, but my self-reporting measures would say that it has increased my concentration. Increased concentration. I'm trying to see if I touched on all the points for the presentation. I think I have. Back to historical significance. So, as I've said, CBD has been used to treat Crohn's disease and mental issues, but it is in its infancy. Like I mentioned before, I was only able to find 50, 60 years of research, which that's younger than our country. So any time that short there's room for investigation, room for improvement. I want to say that's all. I think that's all I have. Yeah, so hopefully this gains approval from the research proposal board or research proposal panel. Again, I'm Jarvis Jones. The focus of my research proposal will be cannabis and how its use correlates with scholastic achievement, which will be gauged off GPA, grade point average, graduation time, with major factors being anxiety. There are difficulties with gauging test anxiety specifically, concentration, which will be measured in brainwaves, and sleep patterns, which will be largely self-reported. Thank you.